good morning and welcome to the September District Council meeting for District 1010. It's absolutely lovely to see such a fantastic turnout this morning. We have a couple of apologies, firstly from AG Sandy Farquharson, and the second apology is from the Rotary Club of Turriff District. I'm going to start this morning though by addressing the issue of the continued COVID-19 situation. As many of you will know, Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland issued a statement last week on behalf of the Governing Council to say that there should be no Rotary Club meetings for the foreseeable future. They then went on to muddy the water slightly by quoting parts of the English legislation and using examples of how some English clubs have tried to circumvent the rules. This was something I was a bit unhappy about, as it didn't really take into consideration that we have devolved powers in Scotland. So let me make the situation very clear for us all. The current rules in Scotland do not permit us to meet as a club under any circumstances, except for the provision of charitable work. And this means something like delivering food, delivering aid to people in our communities who need it, providing care, entertainment for the isolated, and doing voluntary work for any of the protected groups. It does not include meeting to discuss or organise any of what I just said. Meetings should always be held online via Zoom or some similar platform. But probably more importantly is that Aviva, the Rotary insurers, have said that at present they will not provide insurance cover for any Rotary meeting. Now this would mean that if anything were to happen at an unauthorised meeting, which caused possibly injury or material damage, then any claim would have to be settled out of the members' own pockets. You will not have insurance cover if you meet. Now I know this has been a very difficult time for many clubs, and I join you in feeling the frustration of not only being able to meet, but also not being able to take part in many of their normal fundraising events. And this, of course, will impact on some of our ability to provide the service to our communities, which we take a lot of pride in providing. But I really urge you all to stick with the rules, stick with us, provide your service in other ways if you can. Just look around the district, you'll see so many clubs doing great work without spending a lot of money. And before you know it, hopefully we'll be through this out the other side as a much stronger group of clubs, prepared better than ever for the future of Rotary in District 1010. Talking about the future of Rotary, I just wanted to give you some advance notice of a new concept called the Rotary Global Hub. The Global Hub operates on the Microsoft Teams program, which is a platform similar to Zoom, just with some more features. And it's intended to offer an alternative to traditional club membership, but still with the benefits for clubs and for the district. The rationale behind it is quite simple. We have had a continuous decline in members. There's a lack of diversity in our clubs. The ratio of working members to non-working members is poor. There's a weak public perception of Rotary and the membership benefit. And also to get across the message that Rotary is more than volunteering. It's a global network, and it uses the time and the talents of people and also offers opportunities for personal development. And we've had a poor conversion rate of people who are interested in joining Rotary, turning them into Rotarians, and also a poor retention rate for our members. So right now the public awareness of volunteering is very high, and we have, by and large, embraced the technology that's been made available to us, whether that's through home working or social networking. There's also an increased social consciousness at the moment. A lot of cause-driven things, a lot of global connections being made, and very measurable outcomes from all of these. And clubs are looking for the pressure to be relieved from them, challenges of finding new members and finding officers, this sort of thing. So we have the opportunity here to differentiate Rotary from other volunteering opportunities with the benefits of what they're calling direct membership. It will give flexibility. It won't be bound to a specific location. It will still meet, but it will meet online 4 times a month. The cost will be £10 a month by standing order. And you will have the ability, these people joining these groups will have the ability to link into local clubs and get involved with local activities. They will be just members of our district, same as you all are. They can attend district events, training, district council. They can stand for office within the district. They don't do their own projects, but they are there to support the local clubs. And they have the full benefits of being a Rotarian. They are essentially a Rotary member. They can do as much or as little as they want to get involved. The benefits to the district are, it's a great tool for people who don't want to belong to a club, or if there's no suitable club available locally for them. For those who want more flexibility in their membership. Of their membership fee that they're going to pay every year, £25 of that will come back into district funds. And the district membership will know who the members of this online global hub are, so that we can engage with them and get them involved in our club projects. So this will hopefully be launched over the next week or two. We aim to give members a full briefing in the 1010 vision as soon as we possibly can. And if other training opportunities around this become available, we'll pass this on to you too. It's a great tool. There are other aspects to it as well, where we'll have cause-based activities where if people particularly are interested, for instance, in defibrillators, then there will be a group based around defibrillators and doing fundraising for that. So that the opportunities are endless with it. And the success in it will really be measured when people leave it. And that maybe seems a strange thing to say, but hopefully when people leave the Rotary Global Hub, it will be to join their local club. And it's up to clubs to convert these people into members. So look out for that over the next couple of weeks or so. The launch date was set for around the beginning of October. And it should be a very, very interesting thing. Members can get involved with it. It doesn't have to be for new people. There will be opportunities for everyone to get involved. Finally, I just want to give you a couple of figures. It's understandable that our giving to our own foundation charity is down by 25% this year. But also donations to End Polio now are down a worrying figure of 66%. So World Polio Day only a few weeks away. Can I ask you all please to go back to your clubs again and do something if you can to raise a few extra pounds that can go to polio. It is needed now more than ever. Now I want to move on to the business part of today's meeting. You should all have had by email a copy of the reports from all the district officers. Those reports were also available on the website for anyone who hasn't seen them. I'm not going to spend time asking officers to go over their individual reports. If anyone has any comments or queries on them, please contact the officer concerned directly and they'll be able to give you an answer. I'd like to move on now to the district accounts, and can I ask District Treasurer Ewan Hatchwell to present the accounts for us, please? Thank you.
Good morning. Let me endeavour to share my screen and let's go then. So, the district accounts. So the district accounts for the year ending the 30th of June just passed have been examined by the independent accountants. Just a few highlights. The total income was less than in the previous year, significantly reduced dues and a smaller grant from what used to be RIBI, Rotary GBNI, the district grant to us. Conversely, total expenditure was greater than in the previous year. As you'll know, we had the charitable grants for local support projects with lockdown and Zoom license fees, and 58 clubs claimed either one or both of those, a total of £16,900. That's not mentioning the foundation grants that were also available. Furthermore, the district magazine and public image and the membership development and the grants for new clubs all increased, and that obviously to attract and to train and to support Rotarians. However, although we reduced reserves by £5,700 or so to 118,000, the budget was expecting a reduction of 18,600, but because of the cancellation of most activities and face-to-face meetings from March, we just didn't spend money that we expected to spend on a series of activities and meetings. So that's a brief summary of the accounts for last year. Just look at district dues, the club dues capitation was set at 0 this year, and that's forecast to reduce the reserves by £28,000.
Ewan, the slideshow's not moving on. The slideshow's still on the page.
Well, that's interesting. My internet connection is unstable, hey?
Yeah.
That's a pity, isn't it? Maybe Aberdeen's cut off. Are you?
DJ Alistair,
Yes.
there was a question in the chat when you were talking about the global hub. I think it was maybe from Philip at Kirriemuir, just asking for clarity about whether people could be a member of the hub and a member of an individual club. Just, I was going to pass it to you anyway.
Yeah, it's not possible to be a member of both, because that would be like being a member of 2 Rotary clubs. But you can still take part in the hub and take part in many of the discussion groups and take part in the meetings as you would do as a normal club member. So it's just a different form of meeting, and for people who are not Rotarians, they do have the opportunity to join it as a member as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Go to the second one.
Yeah.
Do you need me to go through that again?
No.
You go to the next page then. And so I have talked about that. Yeah. So the Ryler accounts for the past year, they were issued for information, and they've been examined, and they've also been approved by the Ryler trustees at the AGM on the 24th of August. As you know, the Ryler camps this year were cancelled because of the pandemic, and 62 clubs had paid at least a deposit for this year, and 24 clubs requested a refund and have been partially reimbursed. All the monies that have been paid by clubs into the district accounts are being carried forwards to 2021, although prior to the pandemic we had made some payments to Abernethy for the camps that should have occurred in July, and so those monies are being carried forwards as well. Yeah, can you hear me? As Heather's saying that. Oh, well, yeah. So I guess maybe.
We can hear you okay, Ewan.
Okay, good. Right. So the disaster fund in Beirut, as you know, there was a horrific explosion on the 4th of August in Beirut. 200 dead, 600 injured, 600,000 injured, 300,000 homeless, an economic impact. And following the Beirut disaster, we started a Beirut disaster fund for the district and transferred £1,000 from the district disaster fund, which used to be called a flood fund. So many clubs and some Rotarians have made generous donations to the Beirut disaster fund, although still happy to accept more donations. But at this time, we've paid $29,000, sent $29,000 to the Beirut Cedars Rotary Club. That's just over £22,600. And I'm just waiting for another check to clear by the bank, and so we have got some more money, but obviously that's a really impressive sum, and tremendous generosity by clubs and Rotarians, especially in the current time. And the Beirut Cedars Rotary Club are supporting Hungary with food parcels. They're giving help to schools and to hospitals. And if you want more details, if you look at the Beirut Cedars Rotary Club Facebook page, you can get some more information. So that's all I wanted to cover. Are there any comments or questions about everything? Anything there?
If people have any comments or queries, if they could raise their hand, and raise your hand by clicking on participants. And when you do on that, there's an option to raise your hand and we'll see it. With 142 on, we can't see everyone. So Ian Cookson has a query. Ian, if you want to sort your microphone.
My apologies, Ian, I didn't have a query. That's fine.
Okay.
I can cope with that. Okay.
You and John Holm was asking if the amount for Beirut included the donation from the Inner Wheel.
Yes, it did. The Inner Wheel of Perth very generously sent us a £300 cheque.
And Martin Foster has a question. Martin.
Yes, Ewan, as you may recall, certainly I know Alistair Robb's aware that Ellen Rotary had a direct contact in Lebanon and actually started donating in advance of the district call. So I don't know if the amount raised by Ellen has actually been included in your figures, because there was
my figures are only the district account, and I do know that a number of clubs have made direct supports. My own club has as well, but that total that I talked of was simply the district fund. It's alone.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I don't know what other clubs did, but our total was $3,000 eventually from the local community. So the 29,000 will be well exceeded, I'm sure.
Yes, very impressive. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay.
There's nobody else, Ewan.
No, so I'll propose then that the District Council approves the district accounts for the past year, and Ken kindly seconds that, and I'll hand over to Kath to address the voting.
Thank you very much, Ewan. Please now, would you vote? Would you use reactions and either, so that we can see it, either put up the thumbs up or the other waving hand? Would you do that and leave it there for a moment so that Heather and I can scan? So if you have a vote, will you vote now? If you've got a second vote, we'll call for that in a minute. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Just scanning through it. Okay, thanks. Now, would you take your hand down? And if you're either with somebody else who has a vote, or you have a second vote, will you vote now, please? Thank you. Just take me a minute. Thank you. Okay, I see that that vote is carried. Does Heather Stewart see the same?
Agreed.
Thank you. That vote then is carried. The motion was that the District Council approves the district accounts 2019-2020. Thank you for your time, and I think we go back to DG Alistair.
Thanks very much, Kath and Heather and Ewan for the accounts. Thank you very much. It's back to me for a wee while again now. You're going to be sick for it listening to me soon. But many of you will have heard me speak already over the last few months, and one thing I'm keen to see is a refining and improving of your district structure and the posts within it. As a working district governor, I have a difficult workload to manage, and I really couldn't do that without an outstanding team around me. So DG Heather, DGN Ken, District Secretary Kath and District Treasurer Ewan, these people and others take an awful lot of the workload from me. And if we want to be able to recruit younger working people into Rotary in the future, we have to have a structure in place to continue this spread of the workload across the district team. So presently we're working on a structure which spreads the load of the district governor across the whole team, a structure which can be taken forward over the next few years to hopefully make the job of DG a less daunting one for people in employment. The next thing I wanted to talk about are the individual district positions. I carried out a quick count, and yes, there are 85 district positions listed on the district spreadsheet. An awful lot of these are redundant positions, but my aim was to reduce this by 20% or more. And again, over the next few weeks, I'll be speaking to individual chairs of committees to see where we can remove or combine many of the district jobs. As I said, we have positions that no longer exist. They're the easy ones to remove. But we also have dual positions listed, say one for the north and one for the south. But with the modern communication methods that we have with Zoom and the like, is there really a need anymore for a geographical divide? Is that really necessary? We also need...
We have lost DG Alistair at the moment, so we'll continue and pass the baton to District Governor-elect Heather, and she's going to talk about filling the district posts. So over to you, Heather.
Fantastic. So we'll get Alistair, DG Alistair, as soon as we can to talk about the forward look and the aspirations around the structure. And what I was going to do was follow that up really with, I suppose, a plea, a conversation with you to think yourselves and to think about people that you know in your clubs, to think maybe in a different way than you have previously about putting yourself or encouraging others to come forward for district posts. As most of you probably know, I am a relatively new Rotarian, and I have gained an incredible amount of just, I think I've got an awful lot more out of Rotary because of the various roles that I've held. I loved being an assistant governor, I loved being a club president, and I've loved what I'm doing just now in terms of the district governor-elect role, and I feel that I know much more about Rotary, its reach and its impact than I would ever have got the opportunity to do that. Equally, I hope that you all increasingly feel that there's a district team in place who very much are all about supporting the clubs. What else is district here to do, really? And our ability to do that is absolutely dependent on the skills and the knowledge and the experience and the expertise of people in district. So I really just wanted to encourage people to think anew about getting involved in the district team. And one of the reasons that I really wanted people to think about that, and we're all here, anybody in the district team just now, anybody who has been in the district team, I'm sure you'll all be delighted to talk to you about these experiences, getting people coming into these positions from clubs and bringing that fresh, new blood, new experience all of the time is really, really important. And I think some of the recent developments hopefully have demonstrated that real willingness to engage and to listen. The forum's a great example of that, for example, and I think people are getting lots and lots out of that. And Zoom gives us renewed opportunities, I think, to continue those conversations. So one of the reasons this is kind of topical is that after this meeting, Kath, in her position as District Secretary, will be progressing to the election for District Governor nominee for 21-22. And we'll also be moving to look at the Assistant Governor positions. So just to give an overview briefly, because I know when I hadn't previously held a district post or was relatively new to Rotary, or sometimes it's not obvious about some of these positions, the posts of District Governor, the Assistant Governors and the team leaders, the committee chairs, are by election. Kath will keep me right on this. I'm probably in Kath's territory now. Assistant Governors and team leaders are in post for 3 years, but are up for election each year. And I'm just about to go out and speak to the Assistant Governors that we've got just now to see who is both able and willing to stand again, and to see who will be staying on and what posts we might be filling. We also have district posts in relation to Rotary Foundation and Learning and Development, both of which are also critical. These are appointments by the District Governor or District Governor-elect for 3 years, just because these posts are incredibly important in terms of having consistency and continuity. So I'm really happy to take any questions. I really just wanted to clarify where we were in the timing of these things. I think we all would really aspire to getting back. You don't often talk about going back to the days, we talk about going forward, but I think I would really aspire to get back to the days that I have heard about in relation to the district team, where there were lots of people coming forward really keen to take on these roles in district and really keen to make a difference and to work with clubs and to work with individual Rotarians to make a difference. So please do think about that for yourself and think about the talent in and around you in clubs, which is massive, about just encouraging people even to explore these opportunities. And that, I think, is my tuppence worth. Let me just check with my district secretary. Have I covered off everything? I haven't missed anybody, Kath, around posts or process, have I?
No, that's fine, Heather. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good. Have we heard from DG Alistair? Anybody?
No.
We haven't heard. Okay. I would suggest we give a wee pause. If anybody wants to add anything to what I've said, ask any questions, make any comment, then please indicate if you want to do that. Other than that, can you see anybody that wants to come in? Because otherwise I would suggest that we...
There's no hands up.
So I would suggest that we go back, we continue with the agenda then, and that would be you, Ken.
Then, good morning. I'm going to share my screen. I'm a bit of a Luddite. I need something to speak to, so allow me this. If I can just find the one I want. Can people see this? Yeah? Excellent. So growing our membership, and as a lot of you know, I've been working on membership for quite a while, and as Assistant Rotary Coordinator, I look after a lot wider and throughout Scotland on that. What have this lot got in common? Direct Line, Green Flag, Churchill, NatWest. And the common theme in there is all RBS. And if we remember, RBS in the financial crisis had to be bailed out and were nearly out of business altogether. As part of that, they've changed their name to NatWest Group. And as part of the debacle, they were forced to sell Direct Line, which was an insurance arm. And Direct Line actually is exposed to the market through Direct Line, Churchill and Green Flag, with the Direct Line Group as the parent. Now, if I looked at a slightly different aspect of that and look at this, where is Rotary on a graph of growth, which is what RBS was on, and decline, and an opportunity to change, And my suggestion is it's at a change moment. I think, and I really believe, that within Britain and Ireland, we've gone beyond the peak. When we look at the numbers, not just in 1010, but throughout these islands, we're certainly beyond a peak. And I think we've got an opportunity to make sure we don't decline and make sure we're sustainable in the long term, and that we're sustainable to get growth and have this wonderful organization sustainable for the next 115 years, because that's how old we are. And I was interested to listen to Holger Knacker, RI president, and I'm going to share a 4-minute video clip with you, if I can make this work. Is that video seen, Heather?
Dear friends in Rotary, we all love Rotary, and all of us have taken on great responsibility. This is our opportunity to strengthen our network, not for our personal glory, but for the good of Rotary. We believe that our acts of service, big or small, create opportunity for the people who need our help. And we also know that every act of service will inspire and change us. Rotary is not just a club that you join. It is an invitation to endless opportunities. Rotary opens opportunities for the people we serve and for ourselves. I've asked the district governors to deliver 4 messages to clubs. This is briefly, we want to grow by new, different, innovative
club models that meet the needs of young professionals and Rotaractors. And I'm asking you to support those new clubs in your area and think about creating your innovative satellite club. Second, please host at least one strategic meeting a year and asking where your club wants to be in 5 years and what value it brings to your members. Third, I wish your club to grow, but please select your members carefully and make sure that they are a good fit to your club and that your club meets their expectations. And please take care of them. And by the way, there is no wrong age to become a Rotarian. Fourth, even though everything right now is about the coronavirus, please continue your club efforts to end polio by donating to End Polio Now. We must fulfill our promise we made to the children of this world. And based on our strategic plan, together we will grow Rotary. Now, the coronavirus has changed the world, and we cannot longer meet in person as usual. And we don't know how long this will continue. But that's the only real change. Everything else remains. We now come together virtually, like today. We can see each other. We can discuss together, listen to a speaker, and plan new projects. And we share the Rotary values, and we all share our 4-way test. And even in times of crisis, and especially now, Rotaries open opportunities for us and for the people who need our help. With our commitment to service above self, we will be able to overcome one of the greatest humanitarian challenges. Of course, everyone wants us to get back to normal. But in Rotary, this is the time for change. This is the time to be revolutionary. Let's take the opportunity now to make Rotary ready for the future. I'm asking you, please, put everything on test. Frequency and manner of your meetings, your location, day, time, procedures, your events, selection of new members, fundraising projects, your projects, simply everything. your club can become more attractive, flexible, and effective. Don't waste the opportunity. I would like to thank you for your commitment to our great organization. Everything we do opens another opportunity for someone, somewhere. Thank you very much, and stay healthy.
So we'll stop that one. So some interesting messages in there. And what were the kind of key messages? I picked up so many. We're in a unique situation. It is sustainable, and we need to ensure it's sustainable in the long term. When he actually made this video, it was before we re-entered lockdown. So it's probably even more important that we think about it. We have a new norm, and we still come together. We still join. And I actually heard in a meeting yesterday in Area 4 that one of the clubs that haven't been meeting have actually been meeting the last 3 or 4 weeks. That's great news. It's time for change. We need to be revolutionary, he said, and make Rotary fit for the future. New and innovative and flexible club models needed. Be revolutionary. Gone are the days when sitting down for a meal once a week, perhaps listening to a speaker every week, with all the bling that goes with it. We need to change. How about the clubs having a strategic meeting every year and what they're going to be doing so they understand how they're addressing the community and the community needs? There is no wrong age for Rotary. That's a really interesting one. I know clubs in our district who have just recently inducted a couple of 18-year-olds. I also know of a club in our district who's had to decline membership from somebody at 16-year-old who wants to join Rotary. There is no wrong age, whatever we do. If somebody wants to deliver, if somebody wants to give Rotary service, members should be a good fit for the clubs. But he also added clubs need to be a good fit for members. And for that, clubs need to be active, attractive, and not least irresistible to new members. That's quite some messages for us to join and to think about. But let's open opportunities for the future, not just for ourselves, but for the communities and for people who can help us serve. I think there are 3 strands to growing our membership. Get members. Some people say we just need to ask. And I was actually chastised at a meeting for using statistics. And somebody said, I just asked people. And the same club admitted 6 new members within a couple of months. We just need to ask. People say, well, maybe it's not possible because of COVID-19. This year, we're up 20 members. Throughout Britain and Ireland, we're up a couple of 100 members. We've even started new clubs online. In my role with RIBI membership, or Britain and Ireland membership, if I'm sometimes chastised to call it, I've signed off at least a dozen new clubs, e-clubs, different clubs. So it is possible. It is possible to have new clubs. It's possible to get members. But when we do have members, we need to be able to keep members. And the sad statistic is, and it's one statistic we'll use, that members, new members, quite often leave within 2 years. Why is that? Do we not look after them? We need to mentor every new member. I would go further and suggest that every member should possibly have a mentor. And if you do have a mentor, what Heather was suggesting earlier, if you're interested in a post, There are mentors out there to support it, and there's a huge amount of support. We need to keep members. We need to look after members and not have them leaving within 2 years. Perhaps they haven't been given a job to do. I've seen one place where they weren't actually invited to sit at a table with some of the others because of the cliques that are in some of the clubs. That needs to change. New club opportunities, he's suggested. 15 of our clubs are in communities with populations less than 4,000. So previous work I've done was looking at where new clubs could be, and I've just been back through that. But a past RI president said, go and start a club where there's an existing thriving club. There is not a conflict. In fact, it's very complementary in lots of different ways. And I'm really happy to share that with people afterwards. So looking at where there's a potential for new clubs. So here's the provocative bit. Let's get going with Alness or Lossiemouth or Peterhead or Cove or Carnoustie or Dundee or Tillicoultry or Kirkcaldy or Glenrothes. And I'm sure we can look at a lot more. If 15 of our clubs are in communities with populations under 4,000, there are a lot more than just the ones I put up here. I just happened to pick one or maybe two in each district. Sorry, Area 8, but you're going to have to work at it. We need another online Rotary Club. And Alistair Robb, our District Governor, was talking about the Global Hub. How can we follow that? How can we complement that? An online Rotary Club, I hate calling it an e-club because there's so many different names for clubs. And at the end of the day, it's just Rotary. But if we had an online club, that would give us space for picking up people from the Global Hub. Perhaps it should be one in each district. And I was at a previous meeting when some clubs, it was at the forum on a Monday night, when a lot of the people said, perhaps we should just have one in each area. That would be 8. That would be phenomenal. So if it's of interest, here's some offers of support for you. District will fund novel recruitment ideas. It's got to be transferable, and it's got to involve the support of district so we can share that throughout. How about up to £500 an idea? That's not a total, that's not saying it has to be 500. Could be 100, could be 200. And how about a total district budget of 3,000? We did put money in the budget for this year. Let's use it, and let's use it wisely. Give me ideas by the 16th of October. And if you want to talk with anything, give me a buzz, give your AG a buzz, give Heather a buzz or Alistair a buzz or whoever in the district. Let's get going and let's do it. In return, my request, or the district request, is how about people in this room being a membership advocate, one in each area? And I know I do have a couple in Area 8, so thank you for those that did that. I know somebody on here has said, I'll do it for Area 1. So that just leaves 6 more. And if you work with that, any membership advocate will get training, will get the support, and we can really make a success of this. And our request is don't lose any members. It is possible even with COVID-19. If we mentor people, if we look after people, if we check up on what people's needs are, none of the clubs should lose any members whatsoever. How are others changing? The picture's not work. It was a green picture of BP going to net zero by 2050. An oil company going net zero on carbon emissions by 2050. a company that's now bought into hydrogen development for alternative fuels, a company that's bought into wind in Americas. If they think they need to change, we should also think we need to change. Every business to be successful needs to change. And we looked earlier on at the demise of RBS. The support we offer. If you want new members, look at the community, look at alumni. Do we always ask the mums and dads of the kids we support through young photographer, primary school quiz, young writer, young chef? What about all the RILA candidates themselves? We talked of retaining members on the right-hand side and the mentor. There's also member surveys. And I would encourage everybody, every club to do that. We've had visioning and that's still available. And we've also now got online health check, which is much simpler. And I'm sure that the 2 clubs in district that have done it already would adequately support that this is a very good way forward. So this support is available from district for all our clubs, and we can grow Rotary. But let's make it easy. Let's speak English when we speak to people. This sentence was, I was listening to some of the acronyms that goes around. This actually means something. And I'm going to put a bottle of champagne if anybody can come back and tell me what all the acronyms actually are. Past district governors have failed. So let's make it easy and let's make it simple for new people coming into this fabulous organization. We can sustain, we can grow Rotary, we can change, we do not need to go down the decline slope here. Grow, engage and retain, and let's make a difference. Let's continue so that in 10 years' time we can make a difference for the likes of Beirut, sending, if we add on the Ireland one, it sounds like $30,000 to $40,000. And I'm really happy to take questions. And I'm going to stop sharing there. So if you want to ask a question, under participants, if you want to put up your hand, I'll pick it up. Otherwise, I'm going to pass back to Heather.
I'm looking for hands, and also I think DG Alistair's back on the call, so I'm just going to check in. Alistair, are you there? Back on? No? But I'm not hearing him. So if there are no questions or comments for Ken, I really liked that, Ken. There was a lot of challenge in there, and there's been quite a fair bit in the chat as well. Not so much questions for you, but just I think a recognition of the challenges, but also I think, you know, a real sense that people are kind of are up for it. So I put a wee reminder. Do you want to just, I was thinking it'd be good if you reminded people what you want from them by the 16th of October, because it was a very specific ask in there.
So we are happy for innovative ways of growing membership. It's got to be transferable, and it's got to be able so that the district can help that go around and be transferable across it. Any idea up to, I think it was £500 I put on, and district's got a total budget of, I think it was 3,000 I put up. Perfect. Ideas to me or to anyone within the district. Nice and simple.
Yeah, and expanding that network of membership advocates would be great as well, Ken, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be really amazing. Okay, well, shout if I haven't seen you, because I've got 6 screens of people here. So because we've got 140 on the call, which is absolutely amazing.
There's nobody got their hand up in the participants list.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. There's a little bit of debate going on in the chat just now, which is quite interesting, because Martha from Aberdeen was asking about induction, and it's prompted a chat about just how many inductions for members are happening across clubs just now in terms of new members, which is great, because I think it gives a sense that membership is continuing to grow, and also that people are doing that via Zoom. And I know you and I have seen that happen in lots of clubs recently, Ken, which is great. Okay, well, I'm waiting on DJ Alistair to kind of shout stop immediately, desist, but I can't see him or hear him, in which case I think that it would be great if we could invite Ros and Gavin to make their contribution in relation to RILA. Can I just get confirmation that Ros and Gavin are here and ready to go?
Ready?
Excellent. And over to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen with you in a second, but first of all, my name's Gavin McKenzie. I've been involved in RILA for a long time, been running the boys camp for about 7 or 8 years now, I think, before I was a mentor. And I just really, this morning, we think we know what RILA does, you know, we've probably all got different ideas, but, you know, what I do is just thought I would just go through, you know, what I think RILA does, and then I'll pass over to Ross. So I'm just going to share my screen if I'm enabled to do so.
I've just stopped somebody else sharing, Gavin. So
all right, okay.
If you can't share, give a shout.
Right. Can everybody see that screen?
Yep, got it.
Coming up, Gavin. Yeah.
Coming up.
Okay. So what RILA does. So this is basically just a personal reflection on what I think RILA does and why it's important and why I think it's one of the best things that Rotary does. So I'm just really going to have a wee personal journey for you. So I'll take you back to 1985 when I was a young air cadet and my commanding officer said, would you like to go to an interview for RILA? Didn't know anything about it, but I was suggested to me, went along, and that was my first ever interaction with Rotary, and it was very positive. I was interviewed by 4 Rotarians. I found them, they were interested in me and they were very welcoming. And I now, after 20 or a lot more than that now, years, when I joined Rotary, I now count a couple of those panel members as Rotarians and friends. Anyway, somehow I was successful at the interview. I don't know what they saw in me, but I found myself, I was told basically, report to the car park, Eden Court in Inverness, and get on a bus. So being young, I just did what I was told. So when I arrived at Abernethy, I must admit to being slightly apprehensive. I didn't know anybody else at the camp. And in those days, it was quite similar to a cadet camp, which I'd been on. Many of the mentors in those days were from a military background. Some had done national service. So basically, that I knew the script, we awaited orders. But it soon became clear that it wasn't quite like that. It soon became clear it's going to be a full-on week. There was a program of activities that basically stretched us from the minute we got up early to getting ourselves to sleep exhausted at the end of the day. But it was quite different to other things. In contrast to school and in many ways the cadet experience I'd had, you know, we were expected to work things out for ourselves, use our initiative, and really look to our teammates for support in the first instance, rather than going to leader and asking them what to do or what was next. So I was a bit out of my comfort zone and I was tired by the end of the first day. So as the week progressed, you know, there were certain things that on reflection struck me. It was very much a team focus and we had to work together. All the tasks that were involved required us to complete them as a team. So we couldn't just rely on the sporty guy, the fast guy, the strongest, the brightest. We all had to work together and we all had to complete the tasks. There's a real mix of people there from different backgrounds, abilities, personalities. But I do recall a positiveness and a willingness to try things amongst the whole group. And, you know, we quickly had to discern each other's strengths, motivations. We had to communicate with each other. We had to encourage each other and really bond as a team pretty quickly. So we began to see what a team was. We were much more than a collection of individuals. And it really came to my mind on reflection that, you know, this was a sort of a pre-shadowing of service above self. It was a team that mattered. It was others that mattered. It wasn't all about me. So just keeping going was a challenge at the time. It was tiring. It was a full-on week, but we had a purpose. We could kind of see what we were aiming for, and that really kept us going through the fatigue and the physical effort we had to put in. Ryla's always had talks in the morning, and to be honest, at the time, I didn't immediately put them into context with the leadership aspect. But as the week went on, began to see that what we were talking about in these talks was very much related to the task that we were undertaking. And we learned that leadership was not really just about standing at front and shouting. It was much more subtle and much more nuanced and varied than that. I do recall we all had a sort of sense we wanted to win, but we wanted to win for the team. Very much sticks in my mind was the abseiling. I had and still have a bit of a fear of heights, but it was good leadership from one of the quieter guys in the team that kept me through that. He just reassured me, I want to basically not let the team down, and that got me through it. And that really is something that stuck in my mind about that guy. Would not be considered a leader by sort of some standards, but basically led me through that and got me through that as part of the team. It was a competitive week, still is to a large extent, and by the end of it, we did manage mid-table obscurity, as I've said here, but by then we'd learned that wasn't the point. It wasn't about us winning, it was about us being able to look at each other and say, we give our best for each other, we did the best that we could, and that was very, very affirming, and a fantastic bonding experience and learning experience. So what did I learn over the week? Well, I learned firstly that people from different backgrounds, places, interests, everything like that, can all go on and work together. And that has made me much more open to others in life. It was an experience where instead of having my friend group, as it's called nowadays, I was just thrown in with a bunch of other guys and had to get on with it. And they were all great. And that's still my experience today with Ryla. I also learned it's not all about me, and that really rings an accord with service above self for me. I learned to give things a go. That if you don't, you'll never find out what you're good at, what you enjoy, and you have to get out of your comfort zone at times. I learned to face my fears, particularly in my case of heights, but for others, different things. But with the support of others, we could overcome them. I learned that you get out what you put in to an extent, so don't just stand around with your hands in your pockets expecting everybody else to do things for you. You have to just get on with it sometimes, and roll your sleeves up and get on with it. And another important lesson is, if you can't do something, you may well have a friend who can, and that's what teams are about. It's about working for each other, supporting each other, and that really is something that I think Rotary embodies, and we want to pass on. So what difference does it make to me in the long run? Well, it's hard to say. There are lots of influences. Ryla was 1 week. You can't change a person entirely in one week, but you can have a catalyst for change and open people's eyes. So what had I done differently? I'm guessing, but I would have said I wouldn't have made such a diverse group of friends as a student. I wouldn't have become a flying instructor, wouldn't have gone back to the cadets and done that. I probably wouldn't have started my own business, I don't think. I may well never have joined Rotary. I don't think I would have had the volunteer as a sports coach, which I did, even though at the time I was pretty hopeless. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have returned back to Ryla as a mentor and then camp leader 12 years ago when I got back involved with Ryla. So, a couple of questions. Has Ryla changed? Well, yes, I think the military feel is gone. The candidates, to me, are now more ready to opt out. I think that's something that reflects their experience in other things. Mobile phones have made it very challenging. Youngsters don't like to be separated from mobile phones, and when one of them drops their mobile phone into the water, the sheer despair is something to behold. I do think the weather's worse, but maybe that's my memory. So, but I think the reality is that Ryla hasn't changed in many ways. The human condition is still the same. We all have the same basic needs. We need to have belonging. We need purpose. We all need encouragement. We need opportunity, inspiration, guidance, challenge, and each other. We need to be in a team no matter what we're doing. So our activities and style have evolved in response to changing society over the years. but we still, you know, offer those who just need to basically see their potential and just that bit of a hand up and a bit of a catalyst to grab their opportunities. We still give them that opportunity, and I think my experience from chatting to the guys at the end of the week and keeping in touch with some of them over a good number of years, you know, it really does change their lives, and it's something they all look back on as a point in their life where they began to consider themselves, their opportunities, etc. So what I hope you've taken from my sort of wee plotted history is that RYLA is about taking youngsters at the beginning of their adult life and really showing them their potential, giving them a chance to experience that potential and realize it's real. It takes them out of their comfort zone, and it teaches them to think and work with people they've never worked with before, which is something they're all going to have to do in life, and they get a taste of how working together is beneficial. They get to meet people who are not like themselves. So as I said, they'll all at school have a group of friends, but they have to get on with people who they wouldn't necessarily choose to be their friends. I don't think we can measure the impact of the 4,000 odd people who have come through RYLA and District 1010 in the last many years. You know, I think the impact is massive in my view and from anecdote. And I think, you know, we shouldn't try to measure it in any way. We shouldn't look for a return. We should just basically cast our bread in the water and just let these youngsters make the most of what we're giving them without really asking for anything back. It's a giving thing. I think it's probably the best £500 that clubs ever spend. That's my personal view. So that's my thoughts on the matter. And you know, basically, if you don't believe me that RYLA is a fantastic thing, ask those who have been there. And I'll now pass over to Ros.
Hi. So, is my screen sharing enabled? Please.
You should be able to do it, Ros.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's just. It should follow on. Here's it. There we go. Right. Just give me a couple of minutes. That's the next one. Okay, so as Gav said, if you don't believe him, ask them. So we did do just that. So I'm Ros, one of the RYLA team, and what I wanted to do was to draw on Gav's presentation. And so I chose testimony, which really wasn't very easy because there is a multitude. But I decided to focus on the three most important components of RYLA, which we believe are the candidates, the speakers, and the mentors. There are many others, as you've just heard, but I wanted to highlight the recurring themes across the camps. This is across the years and both camps. And those come across all the time as potential, comfort zone, and making new friends. So hopefully this presentation today will give you a flavour of what RYLA is about, not what we as Rotarians think it's about. That's what I'm hoping to achieve today. So what I'd like to do is share a short video from a candidate, because there's nothing better than candidate testimony. And what I will say is that everything is anonymised, so there's no names, ages, years of anyone that is featured in this presentation. Thank you.
We all remember our school residential. School friends coming together, maybe for the last time, to have a week of fun. RYLA's different. From the very start, you're being provided with an opportunity during your selection interview to learn and develop new skills. Young people from all across the district come together for a week. We don't know each other, we're desperately trying to work out who's who and who's going to be in our teams. During that week, we are provided with an opportunity to learn new skills: teamwork, communication, problem solving, leadership, to name but a few. These skills that we learn and develop over that week ultimately allow us to fully participate in the RILA experience. Without these skills, some of the activities would be increasingly difficult. These skills not only provide us with the opportunity to fully participate in RILA, but they also allow us to go on in life, whether that's in education or at work life, ultimately setting us up to succeed.
Okay, I have some candidate testimony which has been gathered over the years that I have been involved in RILA, and one that illustrates discovering potential. I'll read it to you. Thank you for everything I learned at RILA, because for one thing, it gave me the confidence to apply for a 2-week study and sightseeing course in China, which, as it happens, I just got back from on Tuesday. It was honestly one of the best experiences of my life, and I never would have gone for it or even made it through the interview if it weren't for the RILA team. Another big area that the candidates speak about is moving out of your comfort zone. So we call it life starts at the edge of your comfort zone. Before coming to RILA, I was not very comfortable in situations with lots of new people. I doubted my ability to make friends easily, and I was hesitant to challenge and push my comfort zone. The nature of the camp pushed me to speak to different people every day, regardless of social groups, differences, or appearances. Next one. Without RILA, I wouldn't have been elected as a member of the Scottish Youth Parliament. RILA gave me the confidence to take a chance and go for it. Thank you. And always across all the camps, new friends. Getting to know all the amazing people and make so many friends, and being able to learn more about myself and gain confidence within myself to help me through life. Gaining confidence by doing things that I would never do. Challenging myself, and the sense of family and closeness of everyone, and the encouragement for everyone by everyone. So that's from the girls and the boys. And another important part of RILA is, Gav alluded to it, is our morning speakers. There's lots of testimony about this, so I'd like to quickly move on to our inspirational speakers, who are an important part of RILA camps every day. Our speakers are drawn from a wealth of experience and contacts within Rotary. They're all relevant in today's world, and I'll give you a very quick whirlwind tour of our recent speakers, some of whom you may recognise. So I'll start with the last one, who was up, Marion Evans. She's a Rotarian in Moray district, and she has spoken several times around leadership, from the changing room to the front line. Absolutely brilliant speaker. Anne Simpson is a business and life coach, and she has actually coined the phrase, which you may have heard spoken about at RILA, and in some of the feedback that you get when the candidates come back to their clubs, is take a risk today. It's a fairly standard RILA motto now. Mick McConnell, who was a speaker at the boys camp, is a Afghanistan veteran who was wounded in action, and the only thing missing from that picture is his dog, who's a very important part of that talk, and he got spontaneous standing ovation. Now moving on, Karen McCluskey spoke to us last year. She is currently the forefront of the reduced knife crime in Glasgow, and if you Google her, there's some very substantial work that she has been doing. Our very own Fiona Campbell, who is a business development manager at RGU. She was also a RILA girl, is a mentor, is a Rotarian at Ellen, and some of you may have seen her on the Zoom circuit recently speaking to your clubs about RILA. Kirsty Ewan was the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, who was awarded the Unsung Heroes Award, and she gave a very moving, thought-provoking talk last year, 2019, and was supposed to speak again 2020. Hopefully we'll keep her on our list for next year. Also, Wendy Maltman's a Rotarian, Rotary Club of Dundee, a Ryla girl, I'm not going to say when, also a mentor, and has many awards for business and commerce, won many awards for business and commerce, excellent inspirational speaker. And Kirsten Gilmore, who you may know or have heard of from the Mountain Cafe in Aviemore, which is sadly closed now due to the COVID pandemic, but she's also author of a wonderful cookbook called Kiwi and the Cairngorms. So, well worth a read. I would urge you to look up some of these speakers to actually see the calibre of our inspirational speakers across both camps. Gav has alluded to it, the mentors do, and the candidates always do, about how much these people have made an influence in their lives. So I'd like to follow on to the mentor experience. No Ryla is possible without the team. And these are the people across the D1010 who have come together from the mid-80s. I'm under no illusion that Ryla is a new entity. And these people have worked for decades to develop and facilitate it. I thought we'd hear what they have to say. But first of all, I'd like to read a couple of quotes from the mentors. The first one: each day the girls heard from motivational and inspirational speakers who shared their life lessons and experience. Time each evening with my small group of 7 girls gave us the opportunity to reflect on each day and the new skills we had learned. Having about subsiding. I'm scarred by midgy bites, but having had time to consider my experience, I realised that the camp was and provided lots of insight that I can put into practice in my own business. From the boys, Ryla is proof that kids these days have all the mentors was kind enough to make a video clip of her experience.
Okay, so it's the final night of Ryla. The atmosphere is electric. It's the Newcombe Ball Grand Final. You've got a team of Ryla Girl All-Stars who have been elected by their team members, and they're facing off against the Abernethy staff. The atmosphere is incredible, and it's really not about the game. It's not about the sporting prowess, none of that. It's all the magic is coming from the sidelines. All the girls cheering their hearts out, encouraging the girls who are on the field, just like they've been doing all week long. It's this great culmination of a week long of empowerment, basically. Totally different vibe to day one. The girls getting off the bus unsure, but the ones pretending they're confident, the ones who are silent, having not said a single word to a soul the whole bus ride there. And when they arrive on day one, they've got no idea what's in store, even if they've studied the programme, asked around, you know, what's it like? It's hard to put into words, I think, because it's about a lot more than what's on paper. It's about instilling great leadership, of course. And I think Abernethy, the place, and the team that put this Ryla Week together, they really know what they're doing by having this space away from schools, away from their teachers, their parents, their peers, their love interests, especially from social media. By getting away from all of that noise, the girls are able to get back to themselves, you know, figure out what's important to them, work on themselves for themselves without the expectations that are put on them in their day-to-day life. I think it's an incredible week. I think it's really valuable. I think it's incredibly special, and it's a really supportive environment. And I think one of the biggest takeaways the girls get is that, you know, leadership doesn't mean being at the front.
I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe.
Thank you very much. Back.
Thanks very much, Ros. I don't know if anybody's any questions for this. If they have, if they could put their hand up. Jim Allison from Kilrymont. So there's a question. Jim, if you want to start your microphone. No, I'm going to move on to John Milne very quickly then. John Milne.
Thanks. Can I just check? I seem to recall a RILA candidates participant survey a couple of years ago, and there were questions about whether they would move away from the format of having only female presenters and mentor speakers in the respective camps, so that there would be more of a mix between the gender of the speakers.
Yeah, I'll come at. I think, yes, John, that's something that we've looked at, you know, we're working on, and what we're trying to do is rotate the speakers, you know, and get a real balance between that. So that's something that we're working on, and trying to basically swap speakers between the different camps and try to deal with that. So that's very much a focus that we're trying to address and getting somewhere, but still a bit to go.
Thanks, Gavin.
I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to hand back to, I believe, Alistair, Rob, or DG's back on. Alistair.
Yes, Ken, thank you. I'm back. Thanks to Ken and Heather for keeping things going while I did a quick computer repair. Moving on, our district and District 1230 have shared one of only 2 Euroscholar trips from Scotland, where 26 talented young people took part in a youth parliament in Strasbourg, and many of our clubs have selected bright young people to participate and shine. It's an amazing experience which for the past 3 years has been organised for us by Cara Reichart of Articulate Language Camps. Unfortunately, as the UK has left the European Union, we can no longer take part in the Euroscholar experience. So Cara has developed a programme which mirrors the Euroscholar experience without being able to take part in the actual parliament. Cara Reichart is the Scottish co-founder of Articulate, and she's always loved language learning and teaching. Articulate Language Camps provides tuition in French, Spanish, Italian, German and English as a foreign language to children and young people in the UK and all over the world. And they offer residential summer camps and a range of residential and day programmes for schools throughout Europe. I'd like to ask Cara now to outline what is currently called the Rotary Franco-Scottish Experience, and to offer it up to clubs as a way to continue Rotary's mission to develop global citizens and our future leaders. Over to you, Cara. Thank you.
Hello, I'm just going to share my screen with you, which hopefully everyone can see. Yeah?
Good.
Okay, so hi, as Alistair said, I'm Cara, and I've had the privilege, honour of running the Euroscholar project on behalf of Rotary for the past 3 years. I also was lucky enough in 2006 to be one of the candidates sent by Rotary. I am from Ayrshire, so in District 1230. And it's something that really has impacted who I am now. It encouraged me to actually go to university and study French and Spanish alongside politics, and then become a teacher and in turn start Articulate Language Camps. Actually at the moment, because of COVID restrictions, I am back teaching in the classroom for the moment, which is also refreshing for me to be back working with students, and in a school also which has sent students on Euroscholar. So as you really have, it's been amazing to see the impact that it's had on the young people that I work with, as well as the people who were my cohort of Euroscholar a good while ago. So like Alistair said, I've been working with Jim Houston in your district and also Ian Shaw in District 1230 to see if we could put something together that would have a similar impact that Euroscholar did for the young people in your district. We had originally looked at running something in April 2020, in January, February 2021, but because of COVID restrictions and all the uncertainty, we're looking at probably being in January or February 2022. So with what we've put together, we are actually keeping the model that was definitely there for Euroscholar. So a lot of what we did, for example, tours of the Parliament and the Council of Europe, and in fact, even post-Brexit, we will still be members of the Council of Europe. So Strasbourg is a place where we have an amazing institutions which will still have an impact on young people's life today. Similarly, with a tour of the EU Parliament and a Q&A session with Parliament officials, again, regardless of what happens post-Brexit, the EU and what goes on will still have an impact on the lives of Scottish young people. So there'll still be an opportunity to experience that while in Strasbourg. Similarly, a lot of the projects that we did while we were there were based on language. So things like our Strasbourg Challenge, where the young people made documentaries, we arranged people for them to interview and kind of understand what's going on in such an international city. We also did a street survey where they would interview people in Strasbourg, obviously supervised by us and with instructions of where they were going to be. They were talking to people about how they feel about Europe, but obviously our focus can change depending on what the situation is at the time. Obviously, our biggest challenge was replacing what was our Euroscholar Day, which had such an element of grandeur and excitement for the young people, where they actually got the chance to be in the Parliament and act like the MEPs. So this is kind of our challenge of something to replace. What we propose is to work alongside either one or several French secondary schools and their young people of a similar age to put something that would actually be focused on French and English. One of the kind of downsides I always felt about Euroscholar was that because English seems to be the most common language that is learned as a second language across Europe, quite often the debates and everything that happened in the Parliament defaulted to English. So we would have the opportunity with this to really focus on the French language while we were there. Over the past few years, we've also developed some really good links with French schools in Strasbourg. So we have the links there to make something like this possible, and also gives us a lot of flexibility about what topics we want to focus on. It's always been issues that really affect young people today, things like the environment and youth unemployment. And again, with us having control of that, we'd be able to really focus on things that will really engage the young people from Scotland and also from Strasbourg. I'd also work hard to find somewhere where we could do this that would have the element of grandeur that the Parliament did. And also an idea that came from Jim, which I thought was fantastic, was actually looking to see if we can involve Rotary in some form on the other end as well in the city of Strasbourg. The kind of Strasbourg trip has always finished off with a really nice celebration where we invited the young people that we'd met in the Parliament day to come and have a ceilidh, where we hosted it and also kind of got the chance to share some of our traditions. So that's something that again we'd really like to keep, but with our kind of partner French schools. And one of the amazing things about this is it's a great opportunity for the young people to make international contacts that then they'll have throughout their lives as well. So with our kind of aims of the project, they're very similar to what the aims of Euroscholar were, and that's for the young people to use the French language in a really realistic, meaningful context, something which most of the students that are on Euroscholar are studying towards an advanced higher, but all of them have at least a higher. And you see that lots of the young people who have opted or put themselves forwards for Euroscholar, we're often looking to study languages at university or beyond. Also, it's really you see how much it helps their confidence, their vocabulary, their fluency, which was always timed to have Euroscholar in February because it was just before the oral exams took place for advanced higher. So it's often a real boost for them from a qualification level as well. I also look to really immerse them in the French language, and everything that we do while we're there is done through French. So whether that's the tours of the Council of Europe or the Parliament, they're always done through, and the young people also prepare all their questions and things like that in French with us in advance. So it is, you know, immersion, but we also provide the support to help them to do that. It'll also give them the chance to see how European institutions have and will continue to have effect on their lives, and also, kind of most importantly, they learn to work with young people from another country, and when they actually work alongside people to debate and propose solutions for current issues that affect them today, it's amazing to see that happen, something that we've seen to some degree with Euroscholar before, but again we'll be able to have a kind of more direct impact on that part as well, and what we want the young people to discuss. So obviously we have a kind of, for me it's very sad that we're not going to have the opportunity to go to Euroscholar, because it has been fantastic, but it also provides us with an opportunity to build something that we will have as much, hopefully even more of an impact on the young people that we're working with. With this, there was a funding that initially came from, or that used to come from, the European Parliament, and I was approached by the Franco-Scottish Society, who will part fund this along with Rotary, although they don't want to have the impact, the kind of the connections with the young people that Rotary do. They don't necessarily want to be involved with the selection or anything that Rotary does. They're just happy to provide the funding that previously came from the Parliament. We also will have a lot more flexibility. We were given a date by the European Parliament, and that was the date that we had to attend. So now we'll also have a lot more flexibility, which again will help us with costs, because if we were told we had to be there on the Friday, we had to fly out on the Monday and we had to fly back on the Saturday. So we'll have a lot more option as well when we're in control of when we go in and how we run the project. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'm more than happy to answer anyone's questions. Obviously, Jim wasn't available to come and talk about this today, so he asked me to kind of do that in his place. So I know that he'll probably be able to answer your questions probably better than I will, but I'm more than happy to do that.
Excellent, thanks very much, Cara. If anyone's any questions, go to participants box and raise your hand.
I think there was a wee question about costs there in the chat, Ken.
Indeed. So, Cara, is there any indication of cost for participants in that?
Yeah, so it really depends once we look at what time of year we're going, what the flight costs are, but our kind of predictions are in between £300 and £350 per candidate is our estimate, but obviously that will change, or could change, depending on what the cost will be when we actually look into it.
Excellent, thank you very much. You're going to get off lightly because I'm not seeing anyone else's hands up. So thanks very much.
Good. Hopefully that means I've answered everyone's questions in the presentation.
Thanks, Cara. Thank you very much. For anyone who comes across questions in the future, I expect the first point of contact should really be Jim Houston at the Leaving Club, past District Governor Jim. But if you come through me or through District Secretary Carth, we'll pass the message on to Jim if you have any further questions. We now have a few clubs who want to spend a few minutes each telling us about their new projects, and hopefully finding some other district clubs to support them with some of the things that they're doing. So the first one up, I'd like to ask Rotary Club of Alloa, Alan Morgan, to speak about Global Site Solutions, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I realise we're somewhat behind time, so I will keep it brief. Let me just put the presentation up, if I can show it, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. So we had recently a Zoom presentation by John Miles, who is the trustee of Global Site Solutions. What I'd like to do is share a few of the slides and a few of the messages from his presentation, and then end with the call to action. So this is a project, a Rotary project founded in 1998 by a Rotarian who was an eye surgeon, had the ambition to restore the site to 1 million people, which is a pretty weighty ambition. So overall, there are about 650 million people worldwide who are simply too poor to access solutions to a variety of site problems. Around half of those just need a decent pair of specs. A further 40 million suffer from river blindness and millions from trachoma. and many suffer from glaucoma or other range of retinal issues. There are close to 15 people, it's thought, who have avoidable blindness, and that really is where Global Sight Solutions are addressing their efforts. Around 80% of this blindness category just need a straightforward cataract operation, which can be performed for the simple donation of £5. That's an incredible thing. £5 can restore the sight to somebody, and 80% of that 50 million people fall into that category. What Global Sight Solutions does is to form a partnership with Rotary clubs in the districts abroad where there's an area of need. And that struck us as being very important. So this is a link with Rotary clubs abroad in districts. And the intention is that that Rotary district or club will commit to provide a building which will become eventually an eye hospital, and they will then administer that hospital through its own legally constituted trust. Global Sight Solutions also requires all the hospitals to achieve financial self-sustainability by deriving their own income streams from private patients, pharmacies, optical shops, and wellness clinics. So that's a very important point as well. So in the end, you end up with a permanent eye hospital facility for communities 24/7, unlike temporary camps which come and go. So far to date, Global Sight Solutions have equipped nearly 80 Rotary hospitals with an annual capacity of close to 180,000 cataract operations per annum, which is pretty good. The aim originally was to start with 1 million operations. There's now running at nearly 180,000 per year. The way this is funded is through an equal funding partnership between itself and donors in the area of need and the Rotary Foundation. And a figure that was quite incredible, it costs around $90,000 to actually equip a hospital with all the necessary equipment. But with Rotary funding, foundation grants and the leverage from that, that can be achieved with only £12,000 worth of initial funding. And John Miles, the trustee, has great experience in actually doing this. So he gathers £12,000 of initial funding, and he then applies for the grants and rounds this up to $90,000. And that we felt was fantastic leverage. So I know many of us have projects, international projects that we're running with, but we have 90 clubs in District 1010. If every one of our clubs committed to raising just £135, we could raise enough money with the foundation grants to equip a brand new eye hospital, which we could call the Rotary District 1010 Scotland North Eye Hospital. And we could have a building like this with the Rotary wheel and with our name on there. So in conclusion, how about it? Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alan. I would encourage clubs to get in touch with Alan in Alloa, and hopefully we can put something together and support this fantastic project. So thank you very much. If we can stop screen sharing now, please, Alan, we would, I think we go, no, back to gallery view. Right, thank you. The next up from the Rotary Club of Crieff is Bob Milne, who wants to speak about the maize mill in Malawi. Over to you, Bob.
Thank you. Yes, it's been my pleasure over the last several years to make several trips to a city called Zomba in the south of Malawi, where I've been working, and indeed I was there for 6 months last year, where I was able to coordinate a lot of relief during the flood times there. Zomba city itself is reasonably affluent, but out in the rural areas, it is subsistence farming alone in the Shire Valley. Most of the farmers out there, they raise enough maize to see themselves through the dry season and the wet seasons through to the next harvest. The maize is then ground down into flour, which they then use to make their staple food, which is nsima, a very tasteless but high protein packed kind of porridge. There are two methods for turning maize into flour. The old hand method of pummeling it in a mortar and pestle kind of thing, or you take it to a commercial maize mill. And therein lies the problem, because for a lot of these farmers, their major expense every year is having their corn ground into meal. Either they have to pay a fee, but as many of them work on a cashless basis, the miller takes a certain amount of the flour as his payment. In a year like 2020, that's not a problem. In a year like 2019, it is a problem because there ain't that much of a harvest, and obviously the miller needs to take his cut. So there was a proposal jointly by the Zomba Presbytery of the CCAP and by the Limby Rotary Club, a club near Blantyre, to establish a non-profit maize mill for the good of the people. We have been granted land, we've got the land to build it on, and even as I speak, the bricks are being made, they're handmade, and then they're fired up in the next few weeks, so they will be there. So hopefully we can get this off the ground. So if we're talking about costs, about £12,500 to build the thing, supply the machinery, and to employ a miller and a watchman for the first year until it then becomes self-financing. At the moment, Crieff Rotary Club themselves have earmarked £2,500, possibly £3,000. We have a residue of £1,000 from the flood relief money last year. We will be applying for a district grant, which leaves us looking somewhere in the region of about £5,000 to establish this, and hopefully next year. So that gives us a project to do over this winter of raising the £5,000. Myself and my colleague Chris Dowes will be more than happy to talk to any club about this, and indeed we will be circulating all the clubs very shortly. But at least when you get the email, you now have a little bit of background of what it is that we're looking for. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Bob. Another great project here. Going by the chart, I think, Alan, you're going to be fairly busy collecting donations from clubs by the looks of things, so it's all looking very positive. Finally, can I ask Aython Valley, I think Hilary is going to speak a wee bit about their crowdfunding project. Over to you, Hilary.
Thank you very much, Alistair. And Ken is going to share my screen, just the one slide. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. So what is the project? The Community Resilience Programme will build community resilience in the rapidly changing situation of rural Nepal as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The project will provide awareness on health and hygiene practices, the dangers of child and women trafficking and alcohol abuse, domestic and family violence, and it will also promote sustainable agriculture as well as the importance of environmental protection. So what is the challenge? As migrant workers return to Nepal following the COVID-19 with no job prospects, they are reunited with their family in extremely challenging circumstances. This results in increased alcohol abuse and domestic and family violence. Traffickers take advantage of impoverished families, luring innocent young children and women to a terrible fate. The programme will support 9 vulnerable villages, including families and the extended community, with a total population of 8,600. What is the solution? Newly formed community development clubs will be the vehicle for change. Community animators will be selected from these clubs to mobilise the community through a number of local level initiatives to bring about positive behavioural changes. Larger scale community events will be organised that attract members of all ages to attend, covering the key focus areas of the project. And prior to each event, community animators will promote it widely within their community to ensure maximum participation. The animators will use different mediums, including street theatre, storytelling, and other interactive methodologies, which have been shown to be effective in Nepalese villages in promoting long-term change. So how can you help? As with all clubs, fundraising is difficult just now, and we don't want to continually ask the same people for money. Aython Valley Rotary decided to try crowdfunding using global giving. The donation period stops on Wednesday. So if you or your club would like to help, this would be gratefully received. And a reminder that the closing date is Wednesday, so we've just a short period of time to do something. I have posted information on the Ithen Valley Rotary Facebook page, or you can email for me for details. And a big thank you to those who have already donated, because it's greatly appreciated. So thanks very much for listening, and thanks very much, Alistair, for allowing me to speak.
Thanks very much, Hilary, and thanks very much, Alan and Bob as well, for your presentations. 3 great projects. I would ask you all to go back to your clubs and see if there's any way that you can support all or one of these going forward. They're all fantastic. Next up, it's over to my predecessor, immediate past District Governor Alistair McNair, to tell us about this year's District Awards. Alistair.
Thanks, Alistair, for giving me the chance to speak to you today. Before I reach the District Awards, I want to mention the citations. I'm delighted to say that 19 clubs have received Rotary citations for the last year, showing what we do in this district. It's the 2nd best district in Rotary Great Britain and Ireland in the numbers awarded. I'm also particularly delighted at the number of platinum awards that have been awarded. Past RI President Mark set out various distinctions. So we've got 2 gold, 6 silver, and 8 silver, sorry, and 5 platinum awards. So that was very well done. The clubs involved know they've got these awards. I'll put it in a report to the next vision. Regarding the District Awards, most of the awards have been recommended by the various chairs. I'm happy to give these awards. Unfortunately, I'm not sure when you're going to get your trophy, but you know, no doubt we might get a chance to get them handed over at some time in the rest of this Rotary year. Anyway, firstly, the Conestoga Wagon for International Service is Ithen Valley. The Maori Doll for Rotary Foundation is Leven, who won it last year, so they can hand it to themselves. The Public Relations Shield is Ithen Valley. The Mounted Wheel for Club Bulletin is Alloa. The next 2 you may have heard of before. The Community Quaich for Community Service is Ithen Valley. And the Vocational Quaich for Vocational Service is Leven. The Nepal Tile for Water and Sanitation Projects is Kirriemuir. And this gives me great pleasure. The Silver Cup for Foundation Giving is the E-Club of Aviation. The Silver Salver for Best Club Website Facebook. I had some difficulty with this one. The PI chair plumped for one. I've decided to split it. How we're going to split the Silver Salver, I have no idea, but I've decided that it's a split award, as well as the ever lovely Ithen Valley. I'm giving the other half of the salver to Inverness Culloden. The Newcomers Quaich for Use of Innovation and Initiative, I'm giving to Forth Bridges. The overall Youth Service Rotary Club Award, awarded to the Rotary Club giving best support to youth service annually, is Leven. Now the next 3 areas, normally we mention the schools because it's the Rotary Kids and the Interact Awards, because they are given to a club for their work with these organisations. But I've decided to give the Rotary Kids to East Sutherland because of the amount of Rotary Kids projects they have. Interact is to Afford and District. and Rotaract is given to Murray Rotaract with assistance from Elgin and Forres Rotary Clubs. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Alistair, and congratulations to all of the clubs. It was a really fantastic achievement. Next up, we originally, our conference was supposed to take place next month on October the 24th, but as you might have noticed, there have been a few problems around the world. So I'd like to ask Conference Chair John Johnson to say a few words now about our rearranged conference. Thanks, John.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Just a few quick words about the conference. Obviously, times in the world are a little bit strange. We have taken the decision to host the conference in April with the idea of still going ahead with the conference. The theme for this year is Rotary at the Heart of Communities, along with the international theme of Rotary to get Rotary opens opportunities. And that will give us hopefully enough of a programme to have a varied selection of speakers. We're still working on that at the moment. Some will be virtual, some will be in real life. We're hoping that the conference will go ahead as normal, but obviously we'll work to what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. The whole event is going to take place at the Carnegie Conference Centre in Dunfermline. It has well-connected transport hubs and also in partnership with the Holiday Inn Express next door to it, which is great. We're intending with help from fellow Rotarians to video the conference this year, and it will be available after the event for people to use to encourage people to come to next year's conference, which we're also in the process of planning at the moment. The advantage of the Carnegie Conference Centre is it's a not-for-profit organisation, which means that we can look at costs and keep them to a low. Unfortunately, at the moment, we haven't had an on-site meeting due to current restrictions. The full programme, it is hopefully once we get that sorted out and registration and how to register, we'll be putting the information in the Vision magazine and hopefully have updates over the next coming months, which will make life a lot easier. But please save the date. It's Saturday, the 17th of April, 2021. I've just looked at my notes and I've got 2020 written here. So for all of you who are still using dates, Saturday, the 17th of April, 2020. My life at the moment is yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And that's the way I'm working. But I hope you'll enjoy and come along and join us in celebrating Rotary. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John. We're caught up a bit with time, we're not too bad. I'd just like to now ask if there is any other business.
If anybody has anything, put your hand up in the participants box. And you're getting off lightly. None.
Good. In that case then, all I have to do is ask Assistant Governor Jim Hatter to propose the vote of thanks, please, Jim.
Thank you very much, District Governor Alistair. And good afternoon to all Rotarians that's involved here today. Time's against us, so I'll try and keep this as brief as I can. Firstly, on behalf of the District Governor Alistair and the District Support Team, I would like to thank and congratulate all of you who have attended this council meeting. It's the first virtual council meeting. 142 people online is quite amazing. It's very superb. And also thanks to District Governor for his upbeat and inspiring message on the way forward for the district during his year of office. In particular, his guidance and his advice regarding how we as Rotarians and clubs should respect the impact of not only the restrictions involved with the COVID, but also how not to bring Rotary into disrepute as we go ahead our Rotary business. It's very important. And thank you also for your kind words of encouragement as we endeavor to do our Rotary work. It's a lot of work for the Secretary, And thank you, Kath. Not a mean feat. Well done. The treasurer, I'm cutting a lot of this short actually, but the treasurer, thank you, Ewan, for all your hard work. And £22,000 to the Beirut Fund is quite an achievement. Well done to the district and those who contributed. DG Alice, Heather, your encouraging speak to the members regarding district positions will hopefully bring more club Rotarians forward to taking up a post. I've enjoyed my time at district, and it's hard to say goodbye. I don't want to do it, but there you go. Anyway, well done to you. And DG in Ken, for your inspiring speak about growing our membership. That is vital. It is vital, and it's important that we do that. And one of the things I would like to say is that we have to stop the talking and we have to do the walking. We have to get on with it. And it's time that we put things together and get people into this Rotary Club. That might mean by all prospects joining partnerships with other organizations out there. The RYLA information was good, very, very superb. And we appreciate that. And hopefully the clubs can try and remember the things that you've said to us as they go forward to look for RYLA candidates. And Cara, thank you for the Franco-Scottish experience, that information, because the Euro Scholar was a great achievement. And if we can't or don't have to lose it, that would be great as well. And to all the three clubs that gave us information, Alloa, Crieff, and Ithen Valley, thank you. And hopefully someone will take up your bid for support. The district awards, congratulations to all those clubs that's won these. It must have been a tremendous effort on your part to get that achievement. Well done, and long may it continue. The district conference, I'm sure that people were wondering what's going to happen there. So thanks for your update of information. And finally, I would just like to say this. The Rotary family around the world is full of adversity at the moment and difficult times, including the COVID. Rotary opens opportunities is no mean feat as we endeavor to take action to offer those less fortunate than ourselves a better way of life. And as we do so, I always remember the words of one of our past district governors, Roddy Duncan. It's what we do that matters. So thank you, everyone, on behalf of the district team.
Thank you very much, Jim. That was excellent. Thank you. So it just brings it back to me now to close the meeting. Just one small thing before I close it officially, and just to say that it is absolutely fantastic to see our old friend, past District Secretary Alistair Farquhar on the meeting today. I know Alistair's been a bit unwell recently, but it's great to see him back, and hopefully we'll get together soon and share a blather about things, Alistair, and catch up. But thanks for joining us today. Our next council meeting is due to be held on Saturday, the 27th of March 2021. It says here venue to be confirmed. I expect it possibly will be another online meeting, but possibly not. So thank you all for joining us today. It's been a very, very enjoyable meeting, very informative meeting, a lot of good stuff to take back to your clubs. Thank you very much, and have a safe journey back to your couch.
Thanks, Alistair.
Thank you. Thanks.